I was at Myron's shop on the afternoon of Dad's interview. Do you think he'll remember? Myron asked when I arrived after school. You might have to run home and get him. He'll remember, I said. I'd reminded him 50 times. Sure enough, at 10 minutes to 4, the cowbells clanged as Dad walked through the door. He was carrying an armload of board games, Monopoly, Clue, Masterpiece, and the Ouija board. He also had Chutes and Ladders, Candyland, Operation, and Battleship. He was wearing a tie over a wrinkled Star Trek t-shirt. I wondered if he'd forgotten this was a radio interview, not TV. Where do you want these? He called. Calvin, Myron answered. Glad you can make it. My secretary had to rearrange my schedule a bit, Dad said. Dad and Myron had a long-standing joke that they were busy executives with secretaries and offices and lavish expense accounts. I brought this too, Dad said, pulling out a record album from under the stack of games. Beethoven's greatest hits. Now you have some decent music to play. Great, Myron said, turning the album over and studying it. Thanks, man. Now come on back here. I'll give you a quick tour of the station before the interview. That took about 30 seconds. Dad just shook his head sadly. You put a lot of work into this, he said, and it's all going to be obsolete when the worldwide computer network arrives. We're not going to need radio stations then, Myron, or TV, or even our bodies. If we want to talk, I'll just beam my hologram to you through my... Dad, I said, this is your chair right here. That's your microphone. Do you want a glass of water? Sure, he said, sitting down at Myron's kitchen table. For a minute, he looked almost nervous. He reached under the table and gave Ringo a scratch behind the ears. I poured water for Dad and Myron and set the glasses on the table. I'm going to be sitting across from you like this, Myron said to Dad. Benny, get your notebook because I want you to make a transcript of this interview. A what? I asked. Write down everything we say, Myron instructed. I want to keep transcripts from all my interviews for historical purposes. At 4 o'clock on the dot, Myron dropped the needle on a Sesame Street record and played the opening bars of People in Your Neighborhood. Then he used the levels on the console to fade the music out and bring his microphone up. Welcome to People in Your Neighborhood, Myron said in his best radio announcer voice. This is the show that lets you learn a little bit more about the people in our neighborhood. The little place that time forgot that we call Dennis Acres, Missouri. Myron paused to cough quietly into his hand. He took a sip of water. Maybe he was nervous, too. For my first interview, he continued, I couldn't be happier to have my best friend, Calvin Summer. Thanks for being here, Cal. A pleasure, Dad said, leaning into his microphone. They looked like a hippie comedy team. Dad, the stockier of the two, with his scruffy beard and greasy hair, sitting across from skinny Myron, with his wire-rimmed granny glasses and Led Zeppelin t-shirt. But Dad sounded good. His voice was rich and deep. If anyone was driving through Dennis Acres just then and happened to turn the radio dial to 88.1 FM, they might think Dad was a hotshot businessman in a three-piece suit instead of a guy in dirty jeans who collected old board games. Calvin and I go way back, Myron was saying. We went to school together over in Diamond, class of 69. Played baseball. You pitched. I was the home run kid. We thought we were going to play for the St. Louis Cardinals. Remember? You were the best man at my wedding, Dad said. That's right, Myron said. I was. Yep, Dad said. And for anyone who's listening and wondering about Nola, she left a couple weeks ago. She got mad about my holy splinter. Myron blinked. He hadn't planned on getting to the splinter so soon in the interview. Your holy splinter? Myron asked, rubbing his chin. Didn't you bring that to show and tell in first grade? Your Grammy Summer gave it to you, right? Was she the one who could catch mice with her bare hands? That's her, Dad replied. She gave me the holy splinter when I was 6. Told me it was given to her by her grandfather, who got it from his grandfather, who got it from someone who knew for a fact that it was a splinter from the cross of Jesus Christ. Uh-huh, Myron said. Nola wanted me to get rid of it, Dad said, crossing his arms. And you said? Myron asked. When pigs fly. Right, said Myron, nodding his head. Right. A few seconds of silence followed, which I was grateful for. As fast as I was writing, I was having a heck of a time keeping up with this conversation. Folks, that's just one of the many interesting stories Calvin Summer could tell, Myron said. And I see you've brought some games with you, Calvin. Tell us what you have here. Dad launched into a 15-minute lecture on the history of board games, the value of vintage pop culture collectibles, and the importance of keeping games in their original boxes. And a Ouija board, Myron said, acting surprised to see it. Mind if I take this one out of the box? Not if you're careful, Dad answered. This brings back memories, Myron said. Remember the nights we tried to rouse the ghost of Abraham Lincoln? Yeah, and Jesse James too, Dad recalled. We wanted to know where he buried all his money. Myron laughed. We should try to contact someone right now. Why not? We've got some time to kill. Dad was hesitant, but Myron convinced him. I turned off all the lights in the kitchen except for the one desk lamp so I could see to write. Okay then, said Myron. Who should we contact? Oh, I know. How about Grammy Summer? I'm not sure that's a good, Dad started to say. It'll be fun, Myron jumped in. She'll be tickled to hear from us. Now, folks, for those of you at home who don't know how a Ouija board works, let me explain. We have a board here with every letter of the alphabet. We'll ask Calvin's dead Grammy to answer a question, and then her spirit will guide our fingers to spell out the answer. Are you ready? I guess, Dad said. Myron told me earlier how it really worked. He would push the little plastic game piece to the letters to spell out the answers he wanted. Okay, said Myron. Go ahead, Calvin. Close your eyes and ask a question. Grammy Summer, Dad said slowly with his eyes closed. Can you hear me? Why? Myron said. E, Dad said, opening his eyes. S, Myron said. Yes, she can hear us. Ask another question, Calvin. Let's see, Dad said. Grammy Summer, do you like my necktie? Why? Myron said. E, Dad said. S, Myron said. Yes, she likes your necktie. My turn now. He lowered his voice and spoke in a slow, deep growl. Grammy Summer, if you can hear me, tell us what Calvin should do with the holy splinter you gave him. Dad looked at him hard. It's not a toy, Myron. I had to bite the inside of my mouth to keep from laughing. I know it's not a toy, Myron replied gravely, but I'm curious to hear what Grammy Summer has to say about it after all these years. Myron and Dad placed their fingers solemnly on the plastic game piece. G, Myron said softly. E, Dad added seriously. T, Myron said louder. R, Dad said faster. I, Myron said excitedly. D, Dad asked. Get rid, Myron said mysteriously. Oh, get rid of it. Wait, said Dad. She's adding another letter E. Get ride, Myron asked. Get ride, Dad repeated. I knew it. I've been thinking about building a motorcycle out of scrap parts. Now I know Grammy Summer wants me to do it. Get ride, get it? She wants me to get a motorcycle to ride. I didn't feel that last E at all, Myron said feebly. We were asking about the splinter. I'm pretty sure she said get rid of it. Nope, 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 Dad said, shaking his head. I'm positive it's about a motorcycle. Remember how Grammy Summer wouldn't let us ride motorcycles when we were kids? Said they were too dangerous? Kinda, Myron conceded in despair. Well, now Grammy's telling me it's okay, Dad explained. Wow, I wasn't sure if I should build one or not, but if Grammy Summer wants me to, then I have to do it. Ringo began moaning mournfully under the table. Dad pointed to the dog. See, Ringo's picking up on the same message. He's trying to make the sound of a motorcycle. Benny, be sure you get what Ringo's saying in the transcript. Okay, I said. Dad gathered up his board games. He pushed back his chair and stood up. Thanks, Myron, he said. I've really enjoyed this. Man, for years I thought Grammy Summer was mad at me. Why would Grammy Summer be mad at you? Myron asked in a defeated voice, his hands now rubbing his forehead. Dad looked around suspiciously. I wasn't supposed to take the holy splinter out of the house, he whispered. It's priceless, you know, but she must not be mad at me if she says I can build a motorcycle. How do you like that? Wish I could stay longer, but I've got to go to the scrapyard to look for parts. He stopped and looked at me. Aren't you supposed to be at your piano lesson? I said, that's another day. Dad and I had pepperoni pizza for dinner that night. The stack of boxes in the kitchen was growing. Pretty soon we'll have ourselves the Leaning Tower of pizza boxes, Dad said with a laugh. The seance had put him in a banner mood. What do you think of that? The Leaning Tower of pizza. That's pretty good, huh? Not bad, I said. We were eating in the living room, but the smell of ripening garbage from the kitchen was already creeping through the house. The sickening smell clung to every wall. I always kept my door closed with a towel stuffed under the bottom to keep the stink out. It was my way of keeping Dad out, too, since my door didn't have a lock. Dad was in the bathroom when Mom called later that night. I pulled the phone into my bedroom and closed the door. Mom, I said softly, stuffing the towel back under the door. Hi. Hey, sweet dreams, she said. You didn't think I forgot about you, did you? No, I said, though come to think of it, I sort of did. But hearing her call me sweet dreams changed everything. How can an expression I thought I loathed suddenly make everything better? I felt my body relax for the first time in weeks. Everything's going to be fine, I thought. I paid the phone bill, I said. I know, she said, that's why I can finally call. Where are you? It sounded like she was standing in the middle of a highway. A phone booth, she answered. Louisiana. Oh, I said. It sounded so far away. Here's the plan, Mom said. You're going to stay in Dennis Acres until the end of the school year. That's just the rest of February, March, April, and part of May. Then I'm going to come get you and bring you back here. Where? New Orleans. Well, just across the river from New Orleans. It's a town called Gretna. I've got a cleaning job at a motel. You'll go to school here next year. What about Dad? He'll stay there, she said. He likes it there. But, I said, but what? Her voice was hard. But who will take care of him? It's going to be fine, Benny, she said. I can't wait to take you to the Café du Monde in New Orleans for beignets. You'll love them. Little fried donuts covered in powdered sugar. She smacked her lips together. Sweet treats for my sweet dreams. But, I said again, the sweet dreams magic was gone. The spell had been broken. It's late, she said. I'm almost out of change. We'll talk another time. I wanted to tell her how Myra and I had tried to get Dad to throw away the splinter, but that would just make her mad. I wanted to ask if she felt homesick, but I already knew the answer to that. I wanted to say that I felt homesick, but I hadn't even left home. How could I be homesick? Dad's going to build a motorcycle, I said quickly. What? Mom demanded. How is he going to buy a motorcycle? Not buy, build. He's going to build a motorcycle? She asked. Out of what? Stuff, I said. Junk, I thought. Don't get on anything he builds, Mom ordered. I mean it, Benny. It's not safe. Do you hear me? Yeah. Has he cleaned the house yet? She asked. I didn't know what to say. I bet he hasn't, Mom said. Her words were clipped. Talk fast, Benny. I'm almost out of coins. Has he thrown anything away? Not really, I said. Not yet. I knew it. I'll call again when I can. Bye. The line went dead. She wasn't coming home. It didn't matter whether Dad got rid of the splinter or not. She was never coming back except to get me and take me to Louisiana. I couldn't fall asleep that night for the longest time. When I finally did, I dreamed of a giant Ouija board. I was a little Monopoly piece. Something big and strong kept blowing me across the board and screaming, I'm asking you to choose between a donut, a motorcycle, and a splinter. Make your choice. I didn't like it, but I couldn't make the dream stop. I kept moving from letter to letter, spelling the same sad words. Getridoof. There was one more word with 3 letters. It was blurry, but I knew what the word was. I knew who I was supposed to get rid of, and it killed me inside just to think of getting rid of him.